On August 5th, PEN America, a nonprofit organization that protects free expression in the US and the world, published a report disclosing that Hollywood, tempted by the huge Chinese market, has been censoring itself to please Beijing. This has become the business model in Hollywood. Experts believe that this problem reaches far beyond Hollywood. This 94-page-long report pointed out that Hollywood, being the most influential artistic and cultural medium in the world, has more than billions of audiences watching its films. But in the past decade, the U.S. film industry has been impacted by the CCP's censorship. Many major Hollywood production companies and producers are increasingly self-censoring their casts, scripts, and movie sets. They even directly invite CCP censors to participate in the movie sets so that they can be advised on how to avoid being censored. The report also mentioned the strategy of borrowing a boat to go out on the ocean, used by the CCP to globalize its propaganda in order to influence foreign audiences. The CCP used this strategy to reach people who can't be reached by news. The report said that the CCP censors can decide whether a film is permitted to be screened and promoted, and when they can release the film within China. This creates a huge uncertainty and even great costs for the studios. As a result, we see some of Hollywood's most famous movies edited. For example, Mission Impossible 3, Skyfall, Pixels, and many more all have missing content that the CCP opposed. It is not difficult to add scenes to a movie for Chinese audiences. Iron Man 3 is the best example. The Chinese Communist Party sometimes only needs to do very little censorship because the chilling effect makes Hollywood executives and film professionals to gradually internalize content censorship. One Hollywood executive told PEN America, "The size of the Chinese movie-going audience is so huge that if you happen to be the one that catches their fancy, you can make $100 million in pure profit." Sheng Xue, a Chinese-Canadian author, indicated that the CCP has gone from a rogue proletariat to a rogue elite class in the past 3 decades, and the Chinese people are its weapon.
The great weapon the CCP has is the 1.4 billion Chinese people who have no human rights, no freedom, and no protection. As soon as Western culture and arts focus solely on profits, they can easily enter the industrial chain controlled by the tyranny of the CCP, and they will have to be led by the nose.
The American society can see that the CCP's influence has impacted the world. It is like unspoken rules. Everyone knows it. As long as you do business with the CCP, you have to follow the rules of the CCP's ideology. Otherwise, you won't be able to enter the Chinese market. This is a threshold.
However, box office is not the only factor that affects the content of a film. Hollywood studios are mostly subsidiaries of large enterprises that could suffer huge losses if punished by the CCP. For instance, Disney has a 47% stake in the Shanghai Disneyland Park, which cost over $5.5 billion to build. The report warned that what Hollywood has done is form a new set of standards for the world to kowtow to Beijing.
Hollywood has contributed a lot in promoting civilization, democracy, and freedom in the West, but it is a shame that Hollywood is now infiltrated and threatened by the CCP. Maybe in the future, when people are making comments about Hollywood, they will say that Hollywood is degenerate, corrupt, and money-oriented during this time.
Chinese scholar Wu Zuolai indicated that self-censorship is very common in China and that PEN America's independent investigation is a reminder to the American public of the dangers of the CCP culture, and that not even cultural giants like Hollywood can escape the temptations of the CCP. He believes that the blame is on the previous U.S. administrations.
Unable to protect U.S. businesses is a serious failure of previous U.S. leaders and politicians who should be held responsible. Pompeo has also said that every business is risking a lot when they talk to the CCP. Everything about the CCP's culture, business, and media can easily enter the U.S. Like many Asian Americans watch CCTV every day. This is not reciprocity.
Wu said that there may be some training in Hollywood to show guidance on how to avoid the CCP's censorship. But this is not the problem for Hollywood only. All businesses face the same problem. Politicians in Europe and in the United States need to come together to confront the Chinese Communist Party. It is very meaningful that the Trump administration is now using national power to fight the CCP, including the bans on TikTok and WeChat.